General Hospital spoilers tease that the real shock is not just that Maxie may be coming back, it is that she may have been right there in the shadows the entire time, quietly watching the whole nightmare unfold while everyone else thought she was gone. And honestly, that is the part that really grabs me. Because if Maxie has been hiding in plain sight, tucked away in some secret corner of town, then she has not been missing for nothing. She has been gathering pieces. She has been connecting dots. And now, just when Liz is in the kind of danger that could turn fatal in a heartbeat, Maxie may step out of the dark with the one thing these villains cannot stand: proof. That is where I think this whole thing gets deliciously tense. Maxie could have learned that Nathan is dead, and the man everyone keeps calling Nathan is really Cassius. That alone is enough to make my head spin, because if that is true, then we are not talking about a simple disguise or a harmless identity mix-up. We are talking about a long-running deception with teeth. And if Maxie has figured that out, then she is not just reacting to old grief anymore. She is operating with a purpose. She may have realized that the man standing in for Nathan is part of a much bigger machine, one tied directly to Sidwell, and once Maxie sees that pattern, I do not think she can unsee it. What I keep coming back to is this idea that Maxie never truly left town. Maybe she was not gone in the way everyone assumed. Maybe she was living quietly, off the radar, close enough to watch Cassius move through the city like a shadow with a pulse. And if you ask me, that kind of setup is exactly the sort of thing General Hospital loves to use when they are building toward a massive reveal. Maxie could have spent weeks, maybe even longer, tracking Cassius, listening, observing, collecting little bits of truth that never added up for anyone else. That means she may know far more than people realize, and she may have figured out things that would make most people panic on the spot. One of those things, I think, is Jocelyn. If Cassius was involved in Jocelyn's kidnapping, then Maxie knowing that changes everything. Because now Cassius is not just a suspicious figure circling the edges of town. He is connected to a crime with real stakes and real consequences. And once Maxie sees that Cassius is a subordinate of Sidwell, the whole thing becomes even messier. It is no longer one bad man acting alone. It is a network. It is organized. It is layered. And that is exactly why Liz becomes such a huge target. Liz, to me, is the center of this danger spiral. She knows too much. And that is never a good place to be when multiple villains are trying to clean up loose ends. She knows Sidwell has been manipulating Willow the entire time, all to get to Drew. That right there is huge. Because manipulation is one thing, but a long game setup aimed at controlling someone and weaponizing them against another person, that is a full-on operation. Liz also knows about Brennan's stroke and how Willow, Nina, and Sidwell are tied into that mess. Then there is Rocco shooting Cullum and keeping it secret. That is not a tiny detail. That is a loaded secret with enough pressure behind it to explode at any second. And somehow Liz also knows the ugly truth about Cullum killing Sidwell's son, Marco. That is the kind of detail that can get somebody silenced fast. So when I look at all of that together, I do not just see Liz as a witness. I see her as a walking threat to the villain's entire structure. She has pieces of the puzzle that could bring all of them down, and that makes her dangerous in their eyes. Not because she is doing anything wrong, but because she has the truth. And in this kind of story, the truth is often the most dangerous weapon in the room. That is why I think Cullum would be aiming straight at Liz too. He is not only reacting to Sidwell and Cassius, he has his own reason for wanting Liz quiet. If she knows what he did, then she is a liability, a witness, a problem, someone he would rather erase than negotiate with. So now Liz is caught in the middle of three different forces: Sidwell, Cassius, and Cullum, all of them circling her for different reasons, but all of them leading to the same endpoint, and that is why the stakes feel so high. It is not one villain. It is a whole ugly triangle of danger. And this is where Maxie becomes the wild card. Because Maxie may be the only person who has seen enough of the pattern to understand the scale of what is happening. She may know that Liz is in immediate danger, but she may also know that saving Liz means more than just pulling her out of one bad moment. It means exposing an entire criminal web. It means taking down Sidwell, Cassius, and Cullum before they can keep burying their messes. And I have to say, that feels very Maxie to me. She is not the kind of person who would sit on information once she knows lives are at stake. She would move. She would act. She would do it with urgency, with fear, and probably with that sharp, no-nonsense energy that makes people listen whether they are ready or not. That is why the idea of Maxie secretly gathering Sunny, Dante, and Laura makes so much sense. She cannot do this alone. Not if she wants real results. Not if she wants arrests, protection, and a chance to shut this whole network down before somebody else gets hurt. Sunny brings power and reach. Dante brings the law and the instinct to chase down the truth. Laura brings authority, experience, and the kind of moral gravity that can steady the whole room. If Maxie really has the evidence, then she is not just asking for help, she is assembling a survival squad. And I like that part a lot because it gives this story a pulse. Maxie does not just stumble into the room and say, "Trust me." She comes in with proof. She lays it out. She makes them see what she has seen. That is the moment where the room changes. That is the moment where everybody stops talking and starts realizing that this is not rumor, not suspicion, not gossip drifting through Port Charles, but a real threat that needs immediate action. If Maxie has documentation, recordings, photos, witness clues, whatever she has managed to uncover, then this becomes a race against time. Because the danger is not sitting still. Liz could be next. Jocelyn could still be in jeopardy. Lulu and Rocco could get pulled into this before they even understand how deep it goes. And Maxie herself, if she has really been operating in secret for all this time, could already be on the villain's radar. That is what makes her return so explosive. She is not returning to catch up. She is returning with a mission. She is returning because the walls are closing in, and somebody has to break the cycle before more people disappear, get hurt, or get used as leverage in some new cruel scheme. If you ask me, the strongest version of this storyline is the one where Maxie does not just expose the truth, she does it at the exact moment the villains think they are still in control. That is the kind of twist that lands hard. Because imagine Cassius thinking he has outplayed everyone, Sidwell believing his little empire is still intact, Cullum acting like no one can touch him, and then Maxie walks in with the kind of evidence that turns all their confidence into dust. That is not just a comeback. That is a takedown. And that is why I think this could be one of the most intense turns in the whole Liz storyline. Maxie may be the key to unlocking the whole mess, but she is also proof that nobody has really been safe this whole time. The villains have been moving in the dark, sure, but Maxie may have been there too, watching, waiting, and collecting the very facts they hoped would stay buried. So now the game is changing. The trap is being set in reverse. And once Sunny, Dante, and Laura get involved, the balance starts to shift fast. That is the real tension here. Not just whether Maxie comes back, but whether she comes back in time. Because Liz is running out of room to breathe, Jocelyn is still a target, and the whole web of secrets is one bad move away from snapping. And in my view, that makes Maxie's return feel less like a reunion and more like a warning shot. The shadows are ending. The truth is stepping forward. And for Sidwell, Cassius, and Cullum, that may be the beginning of the end.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.